Picture yourself floating weightlessly in the deep blue, surrounded by nothing but gentle currents and filtered moonlight. Suddenly, a translucent bell pulses past you like a living crystal, its edges catching the light as graceful tentacles trail behind like silk ribbons in the water. This ethereal creature moves without a brain, without a heart. Yet it's been dancing through Earth's oceans for over 500 million years, long before the first fish ever swam, before trees grew on land, even before dinosaurs dreamed of existing. Jellyfish are 95% water, yet some can grow larger than blue whales. They have no blood, no bones, yet one species has discovered the secret to immortality. Tonight, we're diving into the mesmerizing world of these ancient ocean wanderers, who challenge everything we think we know about life itself. There's something profoundly humbling about witnessing a jellyfish for the first time. Whether you're standing on a pier watching moon, jellies pulse beneath the surface like living snow globes, or snorkeling in tropical waters, where crystal jellies drift past like transparent flowers, that initial encounter stops time. These creatures seem to exist outside our everyday understanding of what life should look like. Jellyfish challenge our assumptions at every turn. They have no brain, yet they navigate vast ocean distances. They possess no blood, yet they hunt and feed. They lack bones, muscles, and most organs we consider essential, yet they've survived mass extinctions that wiped out countless other species. In their simple, elegant existence, jellyfish remind us that life finds ways to flourish that we're only beginning to understand. The story of jellyfish begins in the deepest chapters of Earth's history, in ancient seas that existed when our planet was young and strange. Fossil evidence suggests that creatures remarkably similar to modern jellyfish were already pulsing through Precambrian oceans over 500 million years ago. Think about that for a moment. These gentle drifters were already perfecting their art of oceanic living, when the most complex life on Earth was just beginning to experiment with shells and hard parts. In the Burgess Shale, that famous window into ancient life, paleontologists have discovered Dynamicius, a creature that shows us what early jellyfish relatives might have looked like. These ancient forms had the same basic blueprint we see today: a bell-shaped body, trailing tentacles, and that distinctive radial symmetry that makes jellyfish look like living mandalas floating through the water. What's remarkable is how little jellyfish have needed to change over hundreds of millions of years. While other creatures developed increasingly complex body plans, nervous systems, and specialized organs, jellyfish refined their simple perfection. They discovered that sometimes the most elegant solutions are also the most enduring ones. Their body plan is a masterclass in biological minimalism. Imagine a creature built like a living umbrella, with the dome serving as both propulsion system and protective shelter. The umbrella's edge contracts rhythmically, pushing water behind and propelling the jellyfish forward in a motion so smooth it seems like underwater ballet. Trailing beneath this translucent dome, tentacles flow like liquid silk, each one armed with thousands of microscopic harpoons, ready to capture whatever small creatures might swim too close. This ancient design has proven so successful that jellyfish have colonized every ocean on Earth, from sun-drenched tropical shallows to the midnight depths where no light has ever penetrated. They've watched continents drift apart, ice ages come and go, and countless species rise and fall. Through it all, jellyfish have maintained their patient, graceful presence in Earth's waters. The more we study these creatures, the more we realize they're not simple at all. They're elegantly complex in ways we're only beginning to appreciate. Their seemingly primitive nervous system, a diffuse network of neurons spread throughout their body like a living constellation, allows them to respond to their environment with surprising sophistication. They can detect light, gravity, touch, and chemical gradients in the water. Some species can even learn and remember, despite having no centralized brain to store those memories. To understand a jellyfish is to marvel at nature's ability to create something breathtakingly beautiful from the simplest materials. Imagine trying to build a swimming, hunting, reproducing creature using nothing but water, a few proteins, and the most minimal structural framework possible. The result would be a jellyfish, a living demonstration that complexity isn't always necessary for elegance. The jellyfish body is an exercise in graceful engineering. The bell, or medusa, forms the creature's main body and serves multiple functions with remarkable efficiency. Made primarily of a jelly-like substance called mesoglia, sandwiched between two thin cellular layers, the bell is both flexible enough to pulse rhythmically and sturdy enough to maintain its shape against ocean currents. Picture the bell's contraction like a slow-motion heartbeat visible to the naked eye. Circular muscles around the bell's rim contract in coordinated waves, squeezing water out from underneath and propelling the jellyfish forward. This jet propulsion system is surprisingly efficient, allowing even large jellyfish to move gracefully through the water with minimal energy expenditure. The relaxation phase draws water back under the bell, setting up the next pulse in an endless, hypnotic rhythm. The tentacles hanging beneath the bell are marvels of biological engineering in their own right. These flowing appendages aren't just decorative streamers, they're sophisticated hunting tools equipped with some of nature's most effective weapons. Each tentacle is lined with specialized cells called cnidocytes, and within each of these cells lies a tiny harpoon called a nematocyst. These nematocysts are perhaps one of the most remarkable inventions in the natural world. Picture a microscopic harpoon gun, coiled under pressure, and ready to fire in less than a millisecond, faster than a bullet. When triggered by chemical or physical contact, the nematocyst explodes outward, shooting its barbed thread into prey with incredible force and precision. Some inject paralytic toxins, others simply ensnare victims in sticky threads, but all serve to capture the small creatures that drift within reach of those trailing tentacles. The jellyfish's nervous system defies our mammalian expectations of how senses and responses should work. Instead of a centralized brain making decisions, jellyfish possess a nerve net, a diffuse network of neurons spread throughout their body like a living web. This distributed intelligence allows different parts of the jellyfish to respond independently, while still coordinating as a whole. Around the bell's rim, specialized structures called rhopalia serve as the jellyfish's sensory headquarters. These small organs contain balance receptors that help the jellyfish maintain proper orientation in the water, light sensors that can detect the direction of sunlight filtering down from above, and in some species, even primitive eyes capable of forming images. It's remarkable to think that a creature without a brain can still see, sense gravity, and navigate through three-dimensional ocean space. The digestive system of a jellyfish is equally elegant in its simplicity. The mouth, located at the center of the bell's underside, opens into a simple gastric cavity that serves as both stomach and circulatory system. Food is broken down in this central space, and nutrients are distributed throughout the body by the flowing movements of the jellyfish itself. Waste products are expelled through the same opening that takes in food, a remarkably efficient system that eliminates the need for complex digestive organs. Many jellyfish species add another layer of wonder to their translucent beauty through bioluminescence. Special cells called photocytes can produce light through chemical reactions, creating displays that rival any human fireworks show. When disturbed, these jellyfish light up like living constellations, their bells and tentacles glowing with blue, green, or sometimes red light that serves both to startle predators and communicate with other jellyfish. The composition of jellyfish bodies is perhaps most astounding of all. Being 95% water means they're essentially organized seawater that has learned to swim. This high water content makes them perfectly suited to their aquatic environment. They're neutrally buoyant, requiring minimal energy to maintain their position in the water column. It also makes them incredibly fragile out of water, where they quickly collapse into shapeless masses as gravity overwhelms their delicate structure. This water-based architecture allows jellyfish to achieve remarkable size with minimal structural investment. The lion's mane jellyfish can grow bells over 8 feet in diameter, with tentacles extending more than 100 feet longer than a blue whale. Yet the entire animal weighs only a few pounds. It's as if nature discovered how to build giants from whispers and water. The ocean is vast beyond human comprehension, covering over 70% of our planet's surface and containing more than 99% of all livable space on Earth. Within this immense blue realm, jellyfish have found ways to thrive in virtually every corner. From the sun-warmed surface waters of tropical seas to the eternal darkness of abyssal depths, where pressure would crush most other creatures. Jellyfish are true cosmopolitans of the sea, with different species adapted to every major ocean environment. In the Arctic waters, hardy species like the lion's mane jellyfish pulse through near-freezing seas, their thick bells providing insulation against the cold. Move to the tropics, and you'll find delicate crystal jellies drifting through coral reefs like living jewelry. Their transparent bodies catching and refracting the brilliant sunlight filtering through turquoise waters. The open ocean, that vast blue desert that stretches between continents, hosts some of the most remarkable jellyfish migrations on Earth. Here, in the pelagic zone, massive blooms of jellyfish can appear seemingly overnight, turning miles of ocean into a pulsing sea of bells and tentacles. These blooms follow complex patterns driven by ocean currents, water temperature, nutrient availability, and seasonal cycles that scientists are still working to understand. Ocean currents serve as the highways of the jellyfish world. Unlike fish that can swim powerfully against currents, jellyfish are more like living sailboats, using their limited swimming ability to position themselves within currents that will carry them where they need to go. The Gulf Stream, that massive river of warm water flowing up the eastern coast of North America, carries jellyfish from tropical waters far into the North Atlantic. Similarly, the Kuroshio Current transports jellyfish species along the coast of Japan, creating predictable seasonal appearances that local communities have observed for centuries. Some jellyfish undertake vertical migrations that are among the largest movements of biomass on our planet. Each evening, as sunlight fades, countless jellyfish rise from the depths toward the surface in search of the small creatures that also migrate upward to feed under cover of darkness. This daily vertical pilgrimage involves billions of jellyfish moving hundreds of feet up and down through the water column, creating a living escalator that connects the deep ocean with surface waters. The deep sea holds perhaps the most extraordinary jellyfish of all. In the midnight zone, where no sunlight penetrates and pressure increases with every meter of depth, jellyfish have evolved into forms that seem more alien than earthly. Here you'll find species with bodies that look like living chandeliers, their bells adorned with intricate patterns of bioluminescent lights. Others resemble underwater Christmas trees, with tentacles arranged in perfect spirals and photophores that twinkle like stars. Some deep-sea jellyfish have developed hunting strategies that seem almost science-fictional. The vampire squid jellyfish, despite its name, actually a cnidarian, can turn itself inside out when threatened, exposing a surface covered in bioluminescent spines that create a spectacular light show designed to confuse predators. Other species use their lights like underwater lighthouses, creating patterns that attract prey or communicate with potential mates across the vast darkness. Coastal waters present their own unique environments for jellyfish, and many species have evolved to take advantage of the rich feeding opportunities found where ocean meets shore. Estuaries, where freshwater rivers mix with saltwater, create complex environments that challenge most marine life. But some jellyfish species thrive in these brackish conditions. Moon jellies, for instance, can tolerate a wide range of salinity levels, allowing them to venture far up rivers and into bays where they find abundant food and fewer predators. Enclosed seas like the Mediterranean, the Baltic, and the Black Sea have their own endemic jellyfish species that have evolved in isolation. These bodies of water, partially cut off from the major oceans, have allowed unique evolutionary experiments to unfold. The Nemiopsis ladii, a comb jelly native to the western Atlantic, accidentally introduced to the Black Sea in the 1980s, created one of the most dramatic ecological changes ever recorded, showing how powerful jellyfish can be when they find themselves in new environments. Seasonal patterns govern much of jellyfish life, creating underwater calendars that have remained remarkably consistent for centuries. Spring blooms often begin when warming waters and increasing daylight trigger the reproductive cycles of polyps, the small, stationary forms that produce jellyfish. Summer brings peak jellyfish populations in many regions, as warm waters and abundant food create perfect conditions for growth and reproduction. Autumn storms may disperse populations or drive them to deeper waters, while winter often sees jellyfish retreating to their minimal survival states. Climate change is beginning to alter these ancient patterns in ways that scientists are still trying to understand. Warming oceans are extending the ranges of some jellyfish species while challenging others. Changes in ocean chemistry, current patterns, and food webs are creating new opportunities for some jellyfish populations while threatening others. These shifts remind us that even creatures as ancient and adaptable as jellyfish are not immune to the rapid changes occurring in our planet's oceans. Living as a jellyfish requires mastering the art of patience in its purest form. Unlike the frantic pace of many marine predators that chase down their prey, jellyfish practice a form of hunting that is both elegant and almost meditative in its approach. They are the Zen masters of the sea, proving that stillness and patience can be just as effective as speed and aggression. The hunting strategy of a jellyfish is deceptively simple, yet remarkably effective. They position themselves in the water column like living nets, their tentacles spread wide to create an inescapable web for any small creature unlucky enough to swim into their reach. This passive hunting style means jellyfish expend minimal energy pursuing prey, instead investing their resources in maintaining position and keeping their cnidocytes, those microscopic harpoons, loaded and ready to fire. When a small fish, crustacean, or other planktonic creature brushes against a jellyfish tentacle, the response is instantaneous and devastating. The nematocysts fire in less than a millisecond, faster than human reflexes can detect. The prey finds itself impaled by dozens or hundreds of microscopic harpoons, each delivering its payload of venom or sticky threads. For creatures adapted to the freedom of open water, being caught by a jellyfish tentacle is like flying into an invisible spider web made of paralysis and pain. Different jellyfish species have evolved remarkably specialized hunting techniques. Moon jellies, those gentle-looking translucent bells common in many coastal waters, are actually sophisticated plankton hunters. Their bell is covered with tiny ciliated grooves that create water currents, drawing small organisms toward their oral arms where they're trapped in mucus and slowly transported to the mouth. It's like watching an underwater conveyor belt designed to harvest the sea's smallest creatures. Box jellyfish represent the apex of jellyfish hunting evolution. These near-transparent predators possess some of the most potent venom in the animal kingdom, capable of killing prey almost instantly. Their hunting style is more active than most jellyfish. They can actually swim purposefully toward prey and have sophisticated eyes that can track movement and distinguish between different types of potential victims. Watching a box jellyfish hunt is like observing a ghost that has learned to kill with surgical precision. The feeding process of a jellyfish unfolds like slow-motion poetry. Once prey is captured and subdued, the jellyfish uses its oral arms to manipulate the victim toward its central mouth. The mouth can expand dramatically to accommodate prey much larger than you might expect. Some jellyfish can swallow fish nearly half their own diameter. The digestive process begins immediately, with enzymes breaking down the prey within the gastric cavity, while the jellyfish continues its patient drift through the water. Reproduction in jellyfish reveals one of nature's most remarkable biological strategies: the ability to live two completely different lives within a single species. Most jellyfish undergo a complex life cycle that alternates between two distinct forms: the familiar swimming medusa and a small polyp stage that resembles a tiny sea anemone attached to the seafloor. The polyp stage represents the jellyfish's patient, long-term survival strategy. These small, stationary creatures can live for years, slowly growing and occasionally reproducing asexually to create clones of themselves. They're incredibly hardy, capable of surviving harsh conditions that would kill the delicate medusa forms. When conditions are right, usually triggered by warming temperatures, increasing daylight, or abundant food, the polyps undergo a remarkable transformation called strobilation. During strobilation, the polyp's body elongates and develops horizontal constrictions, making it look like a stack of tiny plates. Each of these segments will eventually break free as a miniature jellyfish called an ephora. The ephora looks like a microscopic version of the adult medusa, complete with tentacles and the ability to swim, but measuring only a few millimeters across. These tiny jellyfish must quickly learn to hunt and avoid predators while growing toward their adult size. The sexual reproduction of adult jellyfish is surprisingly romantic for creatures without brains. When mature medusae encounter each other during their wanderings, they release eggs and sperm into the water in synchronized displays that can involve thousands of individuals. The fertilized eggs develop into tiny larvae that eventually settle on the seafloor and grow into new polyps, completing the cycle. Some jellyfish species have evolved even more remarkable reproductive strategies. The upside-down jellyfish, Cassiopeia, has entered into a partnership with photosynthetic algae that live within its tissues. This symbiotic relationship allows the jellyfish to supplement its hunting with solar-powered nutrition, spending its days pulsing gently in shallow, sunlit waters, while its algal partners harvest energy from the sun. Perhaps most astounding of all is Turritopsis dohrnii, the immortal jellyfish, which has achieved what amounts to biological time travel. When faced with stress, injury, or old age, this remarkable species can reverse its aging process, transforming from an adult medusa back into a juvenile polyp. This process, called transdifferentiation, allows the jellyfish to essentially restart its life cycle, potentially achieving biological immortality. The social lives of jellyfish, while limited by their simple nervous systems, still reveal surprising complexity. Some species form aggregations called blooms that can contain millions of individuals. These gatherings aren't random, they're organized around feeding opportunities, reproductive cycles, or favorable current patterns. Within these blooms, jellyfish seem to coordinate their movements in ways that scientists are still trying to understand. The diversity of jellyfish forms reads like a catalog of nature's most inspired artistic creations. Each species represents a unique solution to the challenges of ocean living, resulting in creatures so varied and beautiful that they seem designed by imagination rather than evolution. Let's drift through this underwater gallery, meeting some of the most remarkable jellyfish that grace our planet's waters. The moon jelly, Aurelia aurita, serves as perhaps the perfect introduction to jellyfish beauty. Found in oceans around the world, these translucent bells pulse through the water like living pearls, their 4 horseshoe-shaped reproductive organs visible through their crystal-clear bodies like delicate internal flowers. Moon jellies embody the gentle nature that makes jellyfish so appealing. They're harmless to humans, their sting barely perceptible, yet they're masterful hunters of small planktonic creatures. Watching a group of moon jellies drift through sun-dappled water is like observing an underwater ballet performed by living snowflakes. Their bells contract in synchronized waves, creating currents that draw prey toward their trailing oral arms. These arms, covered in sticky mucus and tiny stinging cells, work like underwater flypaper to capture everything from fish larvae to microscopic copepods. The moon jelly's hunting strategy is so efficient that they can clear entire areas of plankton, temporarily turning rich feeding grounds into underwater deserts. At the opposite end of the spectrum, we encounter the box jellyfish, creatures that challenge our conception of what a simple animal can achieve. The Australian box jelly, Chironex fleckeri, possesses one of the most sophisticated visual systems in the invertebrate world. Its cube-shaped bell, from which it gets its name, supports 24 eyes arranged in 4 clusters, including some with lenses capable of forming detailed images. These eyes aren't just for show. Box jellyfish use them to navigate around obstacles, track prey, and avoid predators with a precision that seems impossible for a creature without a centralized brain. They're active hunters, capable of swimming at speeds up to 4 knots while pursuing fish and crustaceans through mangrove swamps and shallow coastal waters. Their tentacles can extend up to 10 feet and deliver venom so potent that it can kill a human within minutes, a sobering reminder that not all jellyfish are as gentle as they appear. The lion's mane jellyfish represents nature's experiment with gigantism in its most translucent form. These massive creatures can grow bells over 8 feet in diameter, with tentacles that extend more than 100 feet, making them longer than blue whales. Their name comes from the flowing mass of tentacles that surrounds their bell like a tremendous underwater mane, colored in shades ranging from pale yellow to deep burgundy. Despite their intimidating size, lion's mane jellies are gentle giants of the sea. They drift through cold northern waters with majestic patience, their countless tentacles filtering the sea for small fish, crustaceans, and other jellyfish. Their sting can be painful to humans, but is rarely dangerous. Swimming beneath a large lion's mane jellyfish is like finding yourself under a living cathedral of flowing tentacles, each movement creating new patterns of light and shadow in the water above. In the warm, shallow waters of the tropics, we find one of nature's most unusual partnerships in the upside-down jellyfish, Cassiopeia. These remarkable creatures have turned the typical jellyfish lifestyle literally upside down, spending their days resting bell down on sandy bottoms with their tentacles pointing toward the sun. This unusual posture serves a specific purpose. The jellyfish host photosynthetic algae called zooxanthellae within their tissues, and positioning themselves this way maximizes the amount of sunlight their algal partners can capture. The relationship between Cassiopeia and their algae represents one of the ocean's most successful partnerships. The algae provide the jellyfish with oxygen and nutrients produced through photosynthesis, while the jellyfish offers the algae a safe home and essential nutrients. This arrangement allows upside-down jellyfish to thrive in nutrient-poor tropical waters, where other species might struggle to find enough food. Venturing into the deep sea, we encounter jellyfish that seem more like alien spacecraft than earthly creatures. The crown jellyfish, Attala, resembles a living flying saucer complete with a crown of spines around its bell. When threatened, this deep-sea marvel produces one of the ocean's most spectacular light shows, creating a rotating ring of bioluminescent fire that scientists call a burglar alarm. A brilliant display designed to attract larger predators that might eat whatever is threatening the jellyfish. The Equoria victoria, or crystal jelly, has contributed more to human science than perhaps any other jellyfish species. These translucent beauties, common along the Pacific coast of North America, produce a green fluorescent protein that has revolutionized biological research. Scientists have isolated this protein and use it to track cellular processes, monitor gene expression, and visualize biological structures in ways that were impossible before its discovery. The 2008 Nobel Prize in Chemistry was awarded for the development of green fluorescent protein as a research tool, making this humble jellyfish an unlikely contributor to medical science. Siphonophores represent the jellyfish family's most elaborate collaborative experiment. These creatures, including the famous Portuguese man O. aren't actually single jellyfish, but rather colonial organisms made up of thousands of specialized individuals working together as one. Each member of the colony has a specific job. Some form the float, others handle propulsion, some specialize in hunting, and others focus on reproduction. The result is a creature that functions like a single jellyfish, but is actually a sophisticated society of specialized individuals. The deep-sea jellies of the genus Periphala showcase evolution's artistry in the ocean's darkest depths. These crown jellies have bells that look like delicate blown glass, colored in deep purples and browns that seem almost metallic in the light. They drift through the midnight zone like living works of art, their bioluminescent displays creating brief galaxies of light in the eternal darkness. Each of these species tells a story of adaptation and survival, of finding unique ways to thrive in Earth's vast oceans. From the gentle moon jellies that grace our coastal waters to the alien beauty of deep-sea species, jellyfish remind us that nature's creativity knows no bounds, and that some of the most beautiful creatures on our planet are also among the simplest. The relationship between humans and jellyfish is often colored by fear, misunderstanding, and a collection of myths that have grown more elaborate with each telling. Beach stories of jellyfish encounters tend to become legendary tales of tentacled monsters, while well-meaning but often incorrect first aid advice gets passed down through generations of swimmers and surfers. Tonight, let's gently separate fact from fiction and discover the truth about these misunderstood creatures. The very word sting creates an immediate association with pain and danger, but the reality of jellyfish stings is far more nuanced than most people realize. What we call a sting is actually the jellyfish's feeding mechanism in action, those remarkable nematocysts firing their microscopic harpoons exactly as they were designed to do. From the jellyfish's perspective, a human swimmer is simply a very large object that has blundered into their space, triggering a response intended for much smaller prey. The sensation of a jellyfish sting varies dramatically depending on the species involved. Moon jellies, those graceful translucent beauties common in temperate waters, produce stings so mild that many people don't even notice them. The experience might feel like a gentle tingling or the briefest sensation of warmth against the skin. At the other extreme, encounters with box jellyfish or Portuguese man O. can produce immediate, intense pain followed by welts and potentially serious systemic effects. Understanding why jellyfish stings affect humans the way they do requires a journey into the microscopic world of venom delivery systems. Each nematocyst is a biological marvel, a pressurized capsule containing a coiled, barbed thread and a cocktail of proteins designed to immobilize prey. When triggered, the capsule explodes with forces equivalent to a rifle bullet, driving the thread deep into target tissue in less than a millisecond. The venoms themselves are complex mixtures tailored to each species' hunting needs. Most contain proteins that affect nerve transmission, causing the burning, tingling sensations associated with jellyfish stings. Others include enzymes that break down cell membranes, helping the jellyfish begin digesting its prey. Some species add compounds that affect blood clotting or heart rhythm components that are barely noticeable when delivered to a small fish, but can cause serious effects in larger animals like humans. The mythology surrounding jellyfish sting treatment is perhaps more colorful than the creatures themselves. The most persistent myth that urinating on a jellyfish sting provides relief not only lacks scientific support, but can actually make stings worse by triggering additional nematocyst discharge. This piece of folklore seems to have emerged from the observation that some traditional treatments used acidic substances. But the leap to human urine as a remedy represents a perfect example of how medical folk wisdom can go wonderfully astray. Vinegar, on the other hand, has genuine scientific support for treating certain types of jellyfish stings. The acetic acid in vinegar can neutralize nematocysts from some species, preventing them from firing additional venom. However, vinegar isn't universally effective for some jellyfish species. It can actually trigger more nematocyst discharge. This complexity illustrates why jellyfish first aid isn't as simple as many beach safety guides suggest. The most effective immediate treatment for most jellyfish stings involves careful removal of visible tentacle material using tweezers or the edge of a credit card, followed by hot water immersion. Water heated to about 113 degrees F, 45 degrees C. As hot as can be comfortably tolerated, helps break down the protein-based venoms and provides significant pain relief for most jellyfish encounters. This treatment works because most jellyfish venoms are heat labile, meaning their structure breaks down at elevated temperatures. Cold treatments, despite their intuitive appeal for pain relief, generally prove counterproductive for jellyfish stings. Ice or cold water can actually preserve venom activity and may trigger additional nematocyst discharge. The contrast between hot water's effectiveness and cold water's potential harm illustrates why understanding the biology behind jellyfish stings leads to better treatment outcomes. The fear of jellyfish stings has created some genuinely amusing cultural phenomena. Protective stinger suits designed for tropical waters, where dangerous jellyfish are common, have evolved into fashion statements that make swimmers look like aquatic ninjas. These suits, while effective, often provide protection from species that aren't particularly dangerous, while offering psychological comfort that allows people to enjoy waters they might otherwise avoid. Regional jellyfish fears often reflect local species and historical experiences. Australian beaches post warning signs about box jellyfish with the seriousness usually reserved for dangerous currents or shark alerts. Mediterranean swimmers worry about Pelagonoctiluca blooms that can turn pleasant beach days into stinging misery. Pacific Northwest divers learn to recognize the trailing tentacles of lion's mane jellies that can deliver stings even when the main bell is out of sight. Interestingly, some of the most feared jellyfish aren't technically jellyfish at all. The Portuguese man-o'-war, often called a jellyfish and certainly capable of delivering extremely painful stings, is actually a siphonophore, a colonial organism more closely related to corals than to true jellyfish. This taxonomic distinction might seem academic to someone experiencing its sting, but it illustrates how common names can create confusion about marine life relationships. The timing and location of jellyfish encounters often follow predictable patterns that observant beachgoers learn to recognize. Onshore winds can drive jellyfish into shallow waters, where swimmers are more likely to encounter them. Certain tidal conditions favor jellyfish movement into popular swimming areas. Seasonal blooms bring temporary increases in jellyfish populations that experienced locals learn to anticipate and avoid. Perhaps most importantly, the vast majority of jellyfish encounters involve species that pose little threat to humans. The gentle moon jellies, crystal jellies, and countless other species that share our coastal waters are far more likely to inspire wonder than cause harm. Learning to distinguish between potentially dangerous species and harmless ones allows people to appreciate jellyfish encounters rather than fear them. The key to safe jellyfish appreciation lies in understanding and respect rather than avoidance. These ancient creatures have been navigating Earth's oceans for hundreds of millions of years, developing sophisticated systems for survival that occasionally intersect with human activities. By learning about their biology, respecting their space, and knowing how to respond to encounters, we can share the oceans with jellyfish as informed observers rather than fearful intruders. In the vast narrative of our planet's oceans, jellyfish serve as both characters and narrators, their populations and behaviors telling stories about marine health, climate change, and the complex web of relationships that sustain life in the sea. These translucent chroniclers have witnessed centuries of ocean change, and today their populations are sending us messages that scientists are learning to read like pages in an underwater book. Jellyfish blooms, those sudden appearances of thousands or millions of jellyfish in areas where they were previously rare or absent, represent some of the most dramatic chapters in this oceanic story. When a bloom appears, it's often the visible culmination of invisible changes that have been building in the marine environment for months or even years. Water temperature shifts, nutrient imbalances, changes in predator populations, and human activities all contribute to creating conditions where jellyfish can suddenly flourish. The mechanisms behind jellyfish blooms reveal the remarkable sensitivity these creatures have to their environment. Many species exist most of the year as tiny polyps attached to the seafloor, waiting for precisely the right combination of temperature, light, and nutrients to trigger their transformation into swimming medusae. When those conditions align, the result can be spectacular: millions of jellyfish appearing seemingly overnight in waters that were clear just days before. These blooms often follow patterns that reflect broader oceanographic changes. In the Mediterranean Sea, massive blooms of Pelagonoctiluca occur roughly every 12 years, linked to complex cycles of deep water circulation and nutrient distribution. The Black Sea experienced dramatic ecological changes in the 1980s when an invasive comb jelly, Nemiopsis ladii, arrived and proliferated so rapidly that it fundamentally altered the sea's entire food web, demonstrating how quickly jellyfish populations can respond to new opportunities. Climate change is writing new chapters in the jellyfish story, often in ways that surprise even experienced marine biologists. Warming oceans are extending the ranges of many tropical jellyfish species, bringing box jellies and other warm water species into areas where they were previously unknown. At the same time, changing current patterns and temperature gradients are altering the timing of reproduction and migration for species that have followed the same seasonal patterns for centuries. Ocean acidification, that other consequence of increased atmospheric carbon dioxide, affects jellyfish in complex ways that scientists are still working to understand. While more acidic waters harm many marine organisms, particularly those that build shells or skeletons from calcium carbonate, jellyfish seem relatively unaffected by pH changes. This resilience could give jellyfish competitive advantages as ocean chemistry continues to change. The relationship between jellyfish populations and marine food webs reveals stories of surprising complexity. Jellyfish occupy a unique position in ocean ecosystems. They're both predators and prey, competing with fish for planktonic food, while also serving as food themselves for everything from sea turtles to tuna. When jellyfish populations increase dramatically, they can consume vast quantities of plankton, potentially reducing food availability for fish larvae and other marine life. These interactions create feedback loops that can amplify ecological changes. Overfishing of jellyfish predators like tuna, sharks, and sea turtles can remove natural controls on jellyfish populations. Simultaneously, when fish populations decline due to overfishing or environmental changes, jellyfish face less competition for food, allowing their populations to grow even larger. The result is a shift in ecosystem balance, from fish-dominated to jellyfish-dominated systems. Pollution tells its own story through jellyfish populations, often in unexpected ways. Nutrient pollution from agricultural runoff and sewage creates conditions that favor jellyfish blooms by promoting the growth of phytoplankton, the tiny plants that form the base of marine food webs. While this might seem like it would benefit all marine life, the reality is more complex. Excessive nutrients can create algal blooms that eventually die and decompose, consuming oxygen and creating dead zones where most marine life cannot survive. Jellyfish, with their low oxygen requirements, often become the dominant survivors in these degraded environments. Plastic pollution intersects with jellyfish ecology in ways that highlight both the resilience and vulnerability of these ancient creatures. Young sea turtles, whose diet consists largely of jellyfish, often mistake plastic bags and other debris for their gelatinous prey. This tragic confusion demonstrates how human activities can disrupt predator-prey relationships that have existed for millions of years. At the same time, some jellyfish species seem remarkably tolerant of polluted waters, thriving in harbors and coastal areas where other marine life struggles. The seasonal stories told by jellyfish populations often reflect the health of entire marine ecosystems. In healthy coastal waters, jellyfish typically appear in predictable seasonal patterns, blooming during specific months when conditions favor reproduction, then declining as temperatures change and food becomes scarce. When these patterns shift dramatically, blooms appearing at unusual times or in unprecedented numbers, it often signals broader environmental changes. Jellyfish serve as indicators of ocean productivity and health in ways that scientists are still learning to interpret. Their populations respond quickly to changes in temperature, nutrients, and prey availability, making them sensitive barometers of marine conditions. Long-term monitoring of jellyfish populations has revealed trends that correlate with climate cycles, human activities, and natural environmental fluctuations. The economic stories told by jellyfish are often tales of unexpected consequences. Massive jellyfish blooms can shut down power plants when they clog cooling water intakes, disrupt fishing operations by filling nets with stinging masses instead of fish, and impact tourism when beaches become unusable due to jellyfish swarms. These economic impacts highlight how deeply connected human activities are to marine ecosystem health. Yet jellyfish also tell stories of opportunity and adaptation. In some parts of the world, jellyfish fisheries have developed to harvest blooms for food, pharmaceuticals, and other products. These new industries represent human adaptation to changing ocean conditions, finding ways to benefit from ecological shifts that might otherwise be seen only as problems. The story of jellyfish in a changing world is ultimately a story about resilience and adaptation. These creatures have survived mass extinctions, ice ages, and dramatic changes in ocean chemistry. Their ability to exist in multiple life stages, reproduce both sexually and asexually, and tolerate a wide range of environmental conditions makes them remarkably adaptable to change. Understanding the stories that jellyfish tell us about our oceans requires patience and careful observation, qualities that jellyfish themselves embody. Their populations fluctuate over timescales that can span decades, making long-term monitoring essential for understanding their ecological roles. As we learn to read these underwater chronicles more skillfully, jellyfish are teaching us valuable lessons about ocean health, climate resilience, and the complex relationships that sustain marine life. In the realm of biological impossibilities made real, few creatures challenge our understanding of life and death quite like Turritopsis dohrnii, the immortal jellyfish. This small, translucent bell, no larger than a pinky nail, has achieved something that has eluded every other complex life form on Earth: the ability to reverse aging and potentially live forever. The story of biological immortality begins with understanding what we mean by death in the natural world. For most organisms, aging is a one-way journey toward inevitable cellular breakdown and death. Cells accumulate damage over time, organs begin to fail, and eventually the complex machinery of life simply stops working. But Turritopsis dohrna has discovered a biological loophole that allows it to essentially restart its entire life cycle when faced with stress, injury, or old age. This remarkable process, called transdifferentiation, involves the complete transformation of the jellyfish's adult cells back into juvenile stem cells. Imagine a butterfly somehow transforming back into a caterpillar, or an elderly human reverting to childhood. This is the level of biological impossibility that the immortal jellyfish achieves routinely. When threatened or stressed, the adult medusa settles to the seafloor, its bell begins to shrink, and its cells begin a remarkable transformation back to the polyp stage. The cellular mechanics of this transformation read like science fiction. Specialized cells that had committed to specific functions, nerve cells, muscle cells, digestive cells, abandon their mature identities and return to a pluripotent state where they can become any type of cell the organism needs. It's as if a concert pianist suddenly forgot their training and returned to being a musical prodigy capable of mastering any instrument. This immortality comes with fascinating limitations. While the jellyfish can theoretically reset its biological clock indefinitely, it remains vulnerable to predation, disease, and physical injury during its vulnerable medusa stage. True immortality in the wild is likely rare, as the constant dangers of ocean life mean that few individuals probably live long enough to take advantage of their remarkable regenerative abilities multiple times. The discovery of biological immortality in jellyfish has profound implications for our understanding of aging in all organisms, including humans. Researchers studying Turritopsis dohrna are uncovering the genetic and cellular mechanisms that control aging, potentially opening new avenues for treating age-related diseases and extending healthy human lifespan. The jellyfish's ability to completely reprogram its cells challenges fundamental assumptions about the inevitability of aging. But immortality is just one of the remarkable biological innovations that jellyfish have perfected over their long evolutionary history. The ability to regenerate lost body parts is common among many jellyfish species, though few achieve the complete body reset of Turritopsis dohrna. Moon jellies can regrow damaged bell tissue, tentacles, and even portions of their digestive system with remarkable fidelity. This regenerative capacity allows jellyfish to survive injuries that would be fatal to most other animals. The nervous system of jellyfish represents another biological marvel that challenges our understanding of how complex behaviors can emerge from simple structures. Without a centralized brain, jellyfish rely on distributed intelligence, a network of neurons spread throughout their body that processes information and coordinates responses. This nerve net allows jellyfish to swim, hunt, avoid predators, and navigate their environment using principles that are fundamentally different from the centralized nervous systems of more complex animals. Recent research has revealed that this distributed intelligence is far more sophisticated than previously thought. Some jellyfish can learn and remember, despite having no obvious structure for storing memories. They can modify their behavior based on experience, suggesting forms of plasticity and adaptation that seem impossible without a brain. These discoveries are revolutionizing our understanding of intelligence and consciousness, showing that complex behaviors can emerge from surprisingly simple neural architectures. The sensory abilities of jellyfish span a range that would be impressive in any animal. Most species can detect light, gravity, chemical gradients, and mechanical stimuli with remarkable sensitivity. Box jellyfish possess some of the most sophisticated eyes in the invertebrate world, with lenses capable of forming detailed images and tracking moving objects. These visual systems allow box jellies to navigate through complex environments like mangrove forests with precision that seems impossible for creatures lacking centralized brains. Bioluminescence in jellyfish represents one of nature's most beautiful applications of chemistry to create light. The ability to produce light through chemical reactions serves multiple functions: communication, predator deterrence, prey attraction, and mate recognition. The mechanisms behind jellyfish bioluminescence have been studied intensively, leading to revolutionary advances in biological research and medical diagnostics. The green fluorescent protein, GFP, discovered in Equaria victoria, has become one of the most important tools in modern biology. This protein, which gives crystal jellies their characteristic green glow, can be inserted into other organisms to track cellular processes, monitor gene expression, and visualize biological structures in living tissue. The development of GFP as a research tool earned its discoverers the 2008 Nobel Prize in Chemistry and has contributed to countless medical advances. Jellyfish have also evolved remarkable physiological adaptations for surviving in environments that would challenge most other life forms. Deep-sea species must cope with crushing pressure, near-freezing temperatures, and complete darkness. Their bodies, being largely water, are naturally adapted to high-pressure environments. But they've also developed specialized proteins and cellular structures that function efficiently under extreme conditions. The metabolic strategies of jellyfish reveal another layer of biological innovation. Their low-energy lifestyle allows them to survive in nutrient-poor environments where more active predators would starve. Some species can reduce their metabolic rate to near dormancy levels when food is scarce, essentially hibernating while continuing to drift through the water. This metabolic flexibility allows jellyfish to exploit environmental niches that are unavailable to other marine predators. The reproductive innovations of jellyfish extend far beyond their complex life cycles. Some species can reproduce both sexually and asexually, switching between strategies depending on environmental conditions. Others have evolved elaborate courtship behaviors that seem impossibly complex for creatures without brains. The diversity of reproductive strategies among jellyfish species reflects millions of years of evolutionary experimentation with different approaches to ensuring species survival. These biological marvels remind us that life on Earth has found solutions to survival challenges that often surpass our technological capabilities. Jellyfish have achieved biological immortality, distributed intelligence, efficient regeneration, and sophisticated sensory systems, using principles that we're only beginning to understand. In their simple elegance, they demonstrate that complexity isn't always necessary for remarkable achievement. Sometimes the most profound innovations come from mastering the fundamentals of life itself. The relationship between humans and jellyfish extends far beyond chance encounters at the beach, weaving through centuries of art, literature, cuisine, and scientific wonder. These ethereal creatures have captured human imagination across cultures, inspiring everything from ancient poetry to cutting-edge biotechnology, and revealing how deeply our species connects with the mysterious beauty of marine life. In Japanese culture, jellyfish hold a particularly honored place, both as subjects of artistic contemplation and as culinary delicacies. The Japanese word courage encompasses both respect and fascination for these creatures, reflecting a cultural appreciation that sees beauty in their translucent simplicity. Traditional Japanese art often depicts jellyfish as symbols of grace and adaptation, creatures that embody the Buddhist principle of flowing with life's currents rather than fighting against them. The culinary traditions surrounding jellyfish reveal a relationship that's both practical and profound. In many Asian cultures, certain jellyfish species are harvested, processed, and prepared as food that's valued not just for nutrition, but for its unique texture and subtle flavor. The preparation of edible jellyfish is an art form in itself, requiring careful cleaning to remove stinging cells and precise seasoning to enhance the creature's natural taste. The resulting dishes often emphasize the jellyfish's distinctive crunchy texture, creating culinary experiences that celebrate the ocean's bounty. Chinese medicine has long recognized potential therapeutic properties in various jellyfish compounds, though modern science is only beginning to understand which of these traditional uses might have biological basis. Some components of jellyfish venom are being investigated for their potential in treating chronic pain, while other jellyfish-derived compounds show promise in cancer research and drug development. The artistic inspiration provided by jellyfish spans cultures and centuries. Ancient Roman mosaics occasionally featured stylized jellyfish designs, while medieval manuscripts sometimes included jellyfish in their marginalia as symbols of the sea's mysteries. The fluid, organic forms of jellyfish have influenced artists working in media from watercolor to glass sculpture, their translucent beauty providing endless inspiration for creative interpretation. Modern aquarium exhibits have transformed jellyfish from mysterious ocean dwellers into accessible ambassadors for marine conservation. The development of specialized jellyfish display systems, circular tanks with carefully controlled currents that keep jellyfish suspended in perpetual, graceful motion, has allowed millions of people to observe these creatures up close. These exhibits often become the most popular attractions in aquariums, drawing visitors who stand mesmerized by the hypnotic pulse of jellyfish bells and the flowing dance of their tentacles. The engineering challenges of keeping jellyfish in captivity have led to innovations that extend far beyond aquarium design. The circulation systems developed for jellyfish tanks have influenced water treatment technology, while the specialized lighting used to illuminate jellyfish has contributed to advances in LED design and underwater photography equipment. Jellyfish have also inspired biomimetic technologies that attempt to replicate their efficient swimming mechanisms. Engineers studying jellyfish propulsion have developed new designs for underwater vehicles that move with the same pulsing motion, potentially creating more efficient and environmentally friendly ways to explore and monitor marine environments. The energy efficiency of jellyfish swimming. They can travel vast distances using minimal energy, offers lessons for sustainable transportation technology. The medical applications of jellyfish research continue to expand as scientists better understand the remarkable properties of these creatures. Collagen extracted from jellyfish is being investigated for use in tissue engineering and wound healing applications. The unique properties of jellyfish collagen, its biocompatibility and ability to promote cell growth, make it a promising material for medical implants and regenerative medicine. The study of jellyfish nervous systems is contributing to our understanding of neurological conditions and potential treatments. The simple yet effective neural networks of jellyfish provide models for understanding how nervous systems develop and function, offering insights that could inform treatments for everything from spinal cord injuries to neurodegenerative diseases. Jellyfish have found their way into modern technology in unexpected ways. The proteins responsible for jellyfish bioluminescence are used in medical diagnostics, biological research, and even security applications. The ability to make living tissue glow using jellyfish proteins has revolutionized our ability to study disease processes, track the effectiveness of treatments, and understand how biological systems function at the cellular level. Environmental monitoring increasingly relies on jellyfish as indicator species for ocean health. Scientists have developed protocols for using jellyfish population data to assess marine ecosystem conditions, track the effects of climate change, and monitor the success of conservation efforts. These applications transform jellyfish from simple marine animals into sophisticated biological sensors for environmental conditions. The cultural impact of jellyfish extends into popular media, where they often serve as symbols of otherworldly beauty or alien intelligence. Science fiction has long used jellyfish-like creatures to represent alien life forms, recognizing something fundamentally different about their approach to existence. This cultural association reflects our intuitive understanding that jellyfish represent a form of life that operates by principles very different from our own. Educational programs centered around jellyfish have proven remarkably effective at engaging people with marine science and conservation. The visual appeal and unusual biology of jellyfish make them excellent ambassadors for broader discussions about ocean health, biodiversity, and the importance of marine conservation. School programs that include jellyfish often see increased student interest in marine biology and environmental science. The philosophical implications of jellyfish existence, their immortality, their distributed intelligence, their ancient persistence have influenced human thinking about consciousness, aging, and the nature of life itself. These creatures challenge our assumptions about what constitutes complex life and force us to reconsider our definitions of intelligence, awareness, and biological success. As we continue to explore and understand our oceans, jellyfish serve as bridges between human culture and marine wilderness. They remind us that the sea holds creatures so beautiful and strange that they seem designed by imagination rather than evolution, yet they're entirely real and sharing our planet's waters. In learning to appreciate and protect jellyfish, we're also learning to value the mysterious, the delicate, and the anciently wise aspects of our natural world. As we float gently toward the end of our underwater journey, the future of jellyfish and their ocean home stretches before us like a vast, blue horizon filled with both promise and uncertainty. These ancient wanderers, who have witnessed the rise and fall of countless species, now face a rapidly changing world where their remarkable adaptability will be tested in ways their long evolutionary history could never have prepared them for. The future of jellyfish research sparkles with possibilities as innovative as the bioluminescent displays of deep-sea species. Scientists are developing new technologies to study jellyfish in their natural habitats, from underwater robots that can follow jellyfish migrations without disturbing them to satellite systems that can track massive blooms from space. These tools are revealing secrets about jellyfish behavior, migration patterns, and ecological roles that were impossible to study just decades ago. Genetic research is unlocking the molecular mechanisms behind jellyfish immortality, regeneration, and adaptation. The complete genome sequences now available for several jellyfish species are providing blueprints for understanding how these creatures achieve their remarkable biological feats. This genetic knowledge holds promise not just for understanding jellyfish, but for developing new medical treatments, biotechnologies, and conservation strategies. The medical applications of jellyfish research continue to expand in directions that would have seemed like science fiction just years ago. Researchers are exploring how jellyfish collagen might be used to grow replacement organs, how their venom components could be developed into new pain medications, and how their regenerative abilities might be harnessed to treat human injuries. The immortal jellyfish, Turritopsis doania, remains a particular focus of aging research, with scientists hoping to understand how its cellular reprogramming abilities might inform treatments for age-related diseases. Climate change presents both challenges and opportunities for jellyfish populations worldwide. While warming oceans and changing chemistry will stress some species, others may find new habitats becoming available as conditions shift. The Arctic, as it continues to warm and lose sea ice, may become home to jellyfish species that were previously restricted to more temperate waters. Scientists are working to predict these changes and understand how jellyfish range shifts might affect marine ecosystems. Conservation efforts for jellyfish face unique challenges, as these creatures often cross international boundaries during their migrations and live in waters that no single nation controls. Future conservation strategies will require unprecedented levels of international cooperation, with countries working together to protect not just jellyfish themselves, but the ocean currents, feeding grounds, and reproductive areas that sustain their populations. The development of sustainable aquaculture systems for edible jellyfish species represents a growing area of research and commercial interest. As wild fish populations face increasing pressure from overfishing and climate change, jellyfish farming could provide alternative protein sources while reducing pressure on wild marine ecosystems. These aquaculture systems also offer opportunities to study jellyfish biology in controlled environments and develop new techniques for captive breeding and population management. Technological innovations inspired by jellyfish continue to emerge from research laboratories around the world. Engineers are developing new types of underwater vehicles that mimic jellyfish propulsion, potentially creating more efficient ways to explore and monitor marine environments. Materials scientists are studying jellyfish structures to develop new types of flexible, responsive materials that could have applications in everything from robotics to medical devices. The role of jellyfish as environmental indicators is becoming increasingly important as we work to understand and respond to rapid ocean changes. Future monitoring systems may rely heavily on jellyfish population data to track the health of marine ecosystems, predict environmental changes, and assess the effectiveness of conservation measures. These living sensors could provide early warning systems for environmental problems that might otherwise go undetected until they become serious threats. Education and public engagement around jellyfish conservation are evolving to meet the challenges of a changing world. Virtual reality systems are allowing people to experience jellyfish habitats without physical travel, while citizen science programs are engaging amateur naturalists in jellyfish monitoring and research. These approaches are building broader public understanding and support for marine conservation, while providing valuable scientific data. The philosophical implications of jellyfish existence continue to influence human thinking about life, consciousness, and our place in the natural world. As we learn more about their distributed intelligence, their immortality, and their ancient persistence, jellyfish challenge us to expand our definitions of successful life strategies and consider alternative approaches to existence that prioritize flexibility, patience, and adaptation over speed and complexity. Looking toward the future, jellyfish remind us that survival often depends not on strength or intelligence in the conventional sense, but on the ability to flow with change while maintaining essential characteristics. Their success over hundreds of millions of years offers lessons about resilience, adaptation, and the power of simple solutions to complex challenges. The oceans of tomorrow will likely be different from those we know today, but if the past is any guide, jellyfish will find ways to thrive in whatever conditions emerge. Their remarkable adaptability, their multiple life stages, and their minimal resource requirements position them well for an uncertain future. In their continued success, we might find both inspiration and practical guidance for navigating our own challenges in a rapidly changing world. As research techniques continue to advance and our understanding deepens, jellyfish will undoubtedly surprise us with new revelations about their biology, behavior, and ecological importance. These gentle drifters, who have already taught us so much about life's possibilities, still hold countless secrets waiting to be discovered in the vast blue spaces they call home. Tonight, we've drifted together through the translucent world of jellyfish, from ancient seas to modern laboratories, from the gentle pulse of moon jellies to the immortal mysteries of Turritopsis dohrnii. We've discovered that these creatures, so simple in appearance, embody some of life's most profound innovations: biological immortality, distributed intelligence, and the art of existing in harmony with ocean currents for over 500 million years. In their graceful bells and trailing tentacles, we found stories of adaptation, resilience, and the quiet wisdom that comes from mastering the fundamentals of existence. These ancient wanderers continue to pulse through our planet's waters tonight, carrying forward an unbroken chain of life that stretches back to Earth's earliest oceans. In their patient drift through moonlit seas, in their gentle response to currents beyond their control, and in their remarkable ability to find abundance in simplicity, jellyfish offer us a different model for success. One based not on conquest or accumulation, but on adaptation, patience, and the profound strength that comes from bending without breaking. As we close our eyes and sink into sleep's embrace, we carry with us the peaceful rhythm of their eternal dance. Until we meet again in these quiet hours, may your dreams flow like ocean currents, carrying you gently through the night. And may you wake with the jellyfish's ancient wisdom that sometimes the most beautiful and enduring achievements come from embracing life's gentle rhythms rather than fighting against them.